Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Pike Homestead. So today we're going to continue on with a little bit of what we were working on over in the other field where I was mowing. Tear up that bit of all the thistle that we had using the tiller. So that's kind of the plan here this afternoon. I'm going to get over there, mark out the space, and start going. I would like to just give you a brief overview of what we've got for the tiller, so I'm going to do that now. So the tiller we got is this one. It's a rear tine tiller. So the reason I decided to go with the rear is they're a little better at breaking new ground, just because you can get the weight on them a little bit better to get them to dig. So that's what we're going to be doing the most here. It's also self-drive, which kind of helps, maybe doesn't help as much as I'd hoped from the little I've used it. I did use it to till up that garden that Caroline was planting the wheat in our last video. So yeah, this is it. This is my bad boy here. It works pretty good. So I just gotta clean it up a little bit and get it ready to go, because it was slightly damp soil last time and I didn't clean it out when I finished. I just brought it back in, and it was because it's time to run in for dinner, and never came back to clean it all out. So now I've got to clean off some of the dirt clods and grass and everything that was all mixed in it and get it ready to go. So I'm going to do that now. So there, it's much cleaner now. So yeah, a couple other features about it. It is 16 inches wide, which is about perfect for what we want to do when we start doing the bigger stuff out there, which probably won't be this year. But if we're looking to do, a market garden or anything like that, I want to be working with 30-inch beds. So if we can do, 16-inch tilling, I can make a 30-inch bed in 2 passes. And that would be kind of perfect for it. So, that's why we went to the expense of this, rather than, it just gives us a lot more flexibility. So yeah, I'm happy with it so far. So now let's head over to the field and get things started over there. All right, so we're here out at the farm, or out in the field, and just behind me here is the patch that we're going to start tilling up to help kill all the massive amounts of thistles we had sitting there. So here I'll give you a quick look just so you can see what we're dealing with. So even after all the mowing, we still have, pretty much intact thistle stalks here laying flat on the ground. And you can see a lot of the grasses through this section are just laying flat from previous years. And so that's a little bit of what we're having to deal with the soil around here. So I've been back and forth through all of this. You can see all this kind of mulch that we've got left over from all the grass. But it's especially bad in places where the thistle is, because it kind of lays down on top of everything and stops the mower from getting it. So like places right here, right next to it, where the thistles are not, you see I was able to cut right down and get nice and close to the grass and rip up most, not all, but most of the flat dead grasses that were already here. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put up some rebar stakes in the ground to just kind of mark off the corners of the patch I want to be running over to till up, so I'm not going over stuff that really doesn't need it. And then I'm going to get going here, so I'll set you up to see all of that, and we'll keep flying. Suffice to say, that didn't work. So turns out, while the tiller is good for doing, regular grass and everything, when you're hitting, prairie grass like what this is, it's been here for years, and has a root mat that's literally 2 inches thick, it has a lot of trouble going over it. So yeah, the battery on the camera died, so that also failed. But I've continued working on it here. It's now actually a couple of days later. We're just trying to figure out, just the best way to deal with the sod and everything here. So that's kind of been the challenge. Just with an eye to the future too, if we want to expand our growing and building more beds and everything, this is a good learning experience. But I'll show you where we're at and what I've got here. So just hold on while I switch you over. So here's the field. So if you look, right here is where I first started tilling. It did next to nothing. So I tried another row here, and this I went over 4 times, and it's still all root mat. So my next option was to take the broad fork and see if I could break it up that way. It did nothing. You'd stick it in and it would just kind of mesh, like just the whole thing would kind of move up a little bit. So the final option was to start cutting the sod and try to pull it out, which we did here. And look how thick that is. So for a chunk of field this size, I'm not going to be able to get that pulled up and cleared effectively with everything else we've got to do. So we've had to pivot and make up a new plan, and well, I'll tell you about it. So we've decided to move our trailer home somewhere else. Well, our home for the trailer, I guess, would be the best way to put it. So just across the way here, just outside this paddock, and still overlooking the pond, we do have a decent kind of place here. So if you see behind me, we kind of get this view, and so we've got this here, but there is some cleanup work we got to do. So what this used to be was actually a shuttle way for the cattle. So there used to be a fence right along here. You can see there's the one post, a fallen corner, and then up there you can see where they've tried to patch it with mesh. There's also some plywood down there that they had put up against it, and some broken fence posts and a little bit of wire still on. I've already stripped some of the wire off, months ago for other things, because it's still good usable wire. But most of this fence is broken and useless, and we're not going to be using it to shuttle cattle from the field over here back behind the barn into the paddocks. So I've been planning to take it out anyway. So we're going to do that. Going to clear up all this and then mow it, and then we'll put the trailer probably around here somewhere with a nice view out here towards the pond and the farm across the way as he's tilling and getting stuff ready there. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. So part of doing this sort of work with barbed wire fence is having the right tools. And this fencing pliers or fencing tool, it allows you to grab off the U-nails and pry them out if you need to, or tap them back in, which are holding the wires to the posts. So this one, it's not mine, it was lent to me by our neighbor, but he's got tons of them because he's got tons of fences, tons of cows, and tons of need of these tools. So he's got a set in pretty much every vehicle and everywhere around. So he had no problem lending this to me back when he first brought his cows over to us, which is fantastic because I need it today to do this work. And yeah, it'll make it go a lot quicker. I'm sure at some point I'll go more into proper wire fence maintenance. Just a couple of tips and tricks that I've learned just in the brief time that we've been living here on how to A, set them up right, and B, make sure they stay taut and what tools you need to use for that. But that's not today. I'm just ripping this stuff out, and I'll be rolling it up safely and putting it aside because, again, it's still good wire, and used wire like this that you roll up yourself is a lot easier to use than fresh wire right off the spool because it's stretched out and relaxed. So it's really handy to keep a hold of it if you can. All right, I'm gonna get working here, and well, let's get going. So that's pretty much the fence cleared, and I think it's time to break out the mower and start clearing up where we want to put the trailer and the whole area here. So let's get started on that. Got it mowed down now. Had a bit of problems with rocks. I hit more, large, like large rocks in this small section than I have anywhere else on our property with all the mowing we've done here. And yeah, I had it bend one of the blades on the mower, had it grab another one. It was completely invisible in the grass, but it was large, and it actually got wedged in the mower, so I had to break that out. But I got to get some new blades for the mower pretty soon, but they're still cutting, and the job is done. We are ready to move the trailer here, so we'll just give you a look at it, okay? So got a nice flat open spot here with a great view across the farm. Easy to pull the trailer in and set it up, and it's actually better than where we had planned, because if we need to attach to shore power, the barn is right there and I can run an extension cord real easy. So we're set up for that, and once we get the water to the barn, then it'll be even better, because we'll be able to supply water to the trailer too. So yeah, that's been our adventures in prepping for our guests coming. Yeah, I think we're about ready. So anyway, our next stages will be getting the trailer up here and just building little bits and pieces we want to add to it to make it, just a nice place to kind of stay. We want to put a small low deck out in front of it, and I've got plans for that with using some pallets and plywood and everything to put it together real quick and easy and firm, and about the right height for in front of the trailer, just so they have a nice place to kind of sit and put out a table and some chairs, and use the barbecue on the trailer if they want to, if they're not going to be eating with us. So it's going to be a good setup. So anyway, thank you for spending your time with us today. We really do appreciate it, and we'll continue telling our story here as we learn and figure out how we're going to deal with the stuff that we're going to deal with as we grow here. One thing I did want some feedback on, actually, is with this sod, with this real thick root layer, if we're going to try to establish gardens in the fields over there in the future, I mean, we're probably not going to get that this year, We're looking at it right now, but you know, if we want to grow to that point where we're growing that much food and possibly starting a market garden, well, tackling this with what we have is going to be really tough. And buying or acquiring the equipment to do it well and easily is going to be beyond our means for quite a while. So we've got some ideas. I mean, one of them is just spend the time and pull up the sod like I was trying to do in this other section here where we were originally starting, right? But that's backbreaking and time consuming, and well, yeah, there's better ways to do it. Another way would be animals. So, you know, chickens will tear it up eventually, but they'll be slow. Or maybe pigs, we were thinking. We might get a couple of rooting pigs because they'll dig up everything, including things like the quackgrass, which is going to be problems for the garden. So that might be the way to go. So tell us what you think. All right. Thank you for spending your time again. We really appreciate it. Like and follow if you're liking what we're putting out. We may be a little staggered here in the future with our posts just because of all the things we've got going on. I mean, we've got a lot happening, but fairly limited time as we're balancing our schedules to get it done, as well as having, you know, guests coming. So yeah, we'll be kind of fits and starts, but try to get a lot of stuff in as we go. So yeah, follow us along, tell us what you think, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you. All right, take it easy, have a good day. Just look at that, hey? This is the view we get every evening. It's beautiful here. Love it. Hey buddy.